Traders, stop using oscillators in isolation and consider support and resistance levels instead. Bitcoin is currently sitting at one of the most important levels of this entire cycle. A level that used to act as a major resistance for years is now acting as a major support level. Okay, and on the monthly chart, Bitcoin is reacting very strongly from the $64,000 zone. At the same time, we're seeing a bullish crossover on the stochastic RSI, which historically has often signaled the start of a new momentum in the market, a new momentum move. So the real question right now is this: is Bitcoin preparing for the next expansion toward all-time highs, or are we about to see one more liquidity move before the real trend begins? In this video, I'm going to show you the monthly support reaction at the $64,000 level, why the weekly structure still looks bullish, the daily supply zone that could describe the next move, also my Bitcoin 4-hour trade setup and why I'm refusing to chase this entry, and also the Morpho trade. I'm going to talk about how that's currently working with my 20x leverage. All right, and on top of that, we're looking at all this with no emotions, no guessing, just structure, liquidity, and following the plan. If you value real analysis over hype, then make sure to subscribe. All you have to do is go to the description like this, press the subscribe button just like that, and you're in. Okay? And also share this with someone who thinks Bitcoin, who missed the move, and they can join the free Telegram group in the description below so that they don't miss out anymore. And you too. There it is right there. Just click on that link and you are in the Telegram channel. Let's go! So first, let's take a look at the macro because we need to look at this before the charts. Something interesting is happening here, right? Because the conversation around Bitcoin at the highest levels is starting to change again. President Trump, that's right, folks, recently made a statement that caught a lot of attention. He said, Bitcoin, it's money. So why should you pay capital gains tax just for using it to buy something like whatever, like a simple thing? Okay, so anyway, that's my bad Trump impression. Think about what that means. For years, the debate around Bitcoin was whether it should exist at all. Now, the debate is shifting to how it could be treated as money. That is a completely unique stage for adoption. And at the same time, there's something very interesting in the institutional movements that are happening right now. Let's take a quick listen to this.
We all know that gold went absolutely parabolic. As you guys can see, we went from about $2,200 all the way up to above $5,000. But have a look at this. Bitcoin is repeating the exact same pattern, right? We have that trend line from the all-time high. Price has struggled twice and now coming down here, sweeping the previous low. What comes next here, if we're going to replay what gold did, is again a massive break above the resistance level and then of course a parabolic move.
Nice, very nice. So, and also based on a number of reports, this guy, your favorite bald banker, my favorite because he's bald, this company has started to aggressively accumulate Bitcoin and Ethereum ahead of today's FOMC announcement. I don't know what that nonsense was about. But anyway, large buy orders are apparently going through every few minutes or something, millions of dollars flowing in again and again. So it's worth noting. Now, whether that's positioning ahead of a major macro announcement or simply strategic accumulation, we don't know. But one thing is clear, institutions are not waiting on the sidelines. They are positioning. And historically, when large institutions start accumulating ahead of macro events, it usually means they expect movement and potentially upside. On top of that, some analysts are even suggesting that if Bitcoin follows the same trajectory as gold, right, like I showed you in that video, then the long-term valuation could push Bitcoin toward that $600,000 level that we've been talking about. So whether that happens this year or not is not possible to know. But the important takeaway is this. The narrative around Bitcoin is evolving. Governments are talking about taxation rules, institutions are accumulating billions, and macro capital is slowly flowing into the market. Meanwhile, price is sitting at a major structural support, right? And historically, those are the moments where the biggest moves begin. So, with that being said, you know what's next. Let's take a look at the charts. So, here's the thing. We're going to begin here with the monthly time frame because this is where the big picture becomes really interesting. on the monthly chart, we can see that Bitcoin recently broke below this area right here, right? That red trend line, and which technically represents a bearish structure. But if you zoom out and actually look at the entire chart, most of the overall structure is still bullish. Right now, Bitcoin is reacting very strongly off of the $64,000 support zone. This level has been acting as a very important macro level in this market. On top of that, we're also seeing a bullish crossover on the stochastic RSI. Yeah, I know it's not one of my favorite, but you have to pay attention to these things, especially for those who use these, but you have to use it with context, which historically has often signaled the beginning of a new bullish momentum in Bitcoin. Now, if you look back at previous cycles, something very familiar has occurred before. All right, we can see here, like back in 2021, this exact zone acted as a strong resistance. Then during 24 and 25, right, that resistance eventually flipped into support. So this is important to recognize. And right now, Bitcoin is essentially retesting the same level. So the ideal scenario would be for price to hold this level and start moving higher, potentially pushing toward the previous highs again. All right. Now, even if the market turns bearish short term, there is still a very strong chance that Bitcoin could at least retest the broken trend line before making its next decision. So that still means there is a lot of upside. Now, let's move along to the next time frame here. We're going to look at the weekly time frame. So here, when we look at this, we can see market structure a bit more clearly. The market has been moving through a typical cycle of consolidation, manipulation, and then squeeze. Right now, it looks like we're sitting inside the manipulation phase where price temporarily moves into support before making its real choice, right? And that's where we're messing around right now. So there's one very important detail here. Even though price pushed lower into the support zone, Bitcoin never actually closed below this weekly support. And weekly closes matter a lot because if price closes below a key level, that means the support is no longer respected. But if price continues to close above it, that means buyers are still looking to defend the level. And right now, we're seeing a bullish engulfing candle. You can see that right here very clearly on the weekly, and that's forming on the weekly. So that which is clearing basically the range, it's cleared the range of the previous few weeks or the previous few candles, which is very important. That kind of price action usually tells us that strong buying pressure continues to enter the market. So if weekly structure holds, the next logical phase after manipulation would be the squeeze, which means the market could start going into an expansion higher again. Now, let's move along here and take a look at the daily time frame. So here we have recently Bitcoin consumed the buy side liquidity, right? That was sitting above the previous high. You can see that sweep clearly on this chart right in this area here, right? Above that, we have what? We also have a clear supply zone above. So now price has started reacting before fully tapping into that supply zone, which makes the current move slightly suspicious, right? That's why you can't go all in with this bullish just yet. So there are a couple of scenarios here. First, the possibility that price pulls back slightly, builds some liquidity, and then pushes higher into the supply zone right after before reversing. Then, second possibility is that because of a lot of buyers have bought and they've entered the market, price could actually reverse from this area without actually consuming the supply fully, right? It could basically just break. Okay, just break lower. Either way, this level is extremely important for the next move because if price eventually breaks above and reclaims 68K, the 68K region, that could open the door for the next bullish expansion, right? So we want to see that retest and we want to see that confirmation hold, all right? But if the supply holds, we could see another liquidity sleep breaking lower first, right? If it clears through this supply. All right, anyway, let's go into our trade updates here. Right, so we're going to begin here with the 4-hour Bitcoin. So first, we have the setup is actually playing out nicely so far. Technically, I could take the short from this area. It went below this yellow line, but I'm going to be cautious with this, right? And the reason is simple. The daily supply zone has not really been consumed yet, which means there's still high chance this move could simply be an inducement for bears, which means it sucks them into the higher low and then pushes higher. If I were to enter a short right now, there's a very, very good chance the market could push higher first, then consume the liquidity up here, right? And then hit the supply zone to reverse, right? So I'm looking for something like that. That would easily reach my stop in that particular scenario. So my plan is simple. I'm going to wait patiently. If price eventually pushes higher, right, consumes a level, and then shows bearish confirmation, that's where I'll start looking for the short entries up in this area. All right, until then, I think it's wise to just wait for that situation. All right, so anyway, but the trade is on the radar. Let's talk about Morpho here. So Morpho has been running good for quite some time. This trade is actually performing really well. So here's the thing. Right now, I'm sitting on what 3% of my account is in this position, and I'm using roughly 20x leverage. So this is a fairly significant position, but at the same time, I'm not letting emotions take over, right? The risk is controlled because my stop is now sitting at $1.70. So if the market decides to reverse, the loss is completely managed. But if price continues to push higher, we could easily move toward that second profit objective around $2.07, around there. So for now, the plan is simple. Let the trade play out, manage risk properly, and avoid making emotional decisions. All right, let's move on to the trade challenge, people. So let's talk about the $10,000 to $100,000 challenge, right? This is not about being in just one lottery ticket type of trade. It's about showing how following a plan and consistency can compound over time. No gambling, no emotional decisions, only structured setups and proper risk management. Right now, the Morpho trade, like I said, is still running, and the position is protected after moving the stop higher, right? The Bitcoin setup that I just showed you, that's not in actual play yet. We're still watching it, and that's okay, because one of the biggest mistakes traders make is forcing trades that aren't there. In this challenge, we follow a simple rule, right? If the level is not there, then we simply wait. The market always gives new opportunities, but breaking your rules can really hurt months of progress and really hurt your account. This entire challenge is about proving that following your plan compounds over time. All right, now all these trades, by the way, we use the MEXC platform, right, to take these trades. Now, the link is in the description, and also, I'll show you my code over here, but in a moment. But here's why you should choose the MEXC platform, right? Because it's very important, especially in this type of environment. When you're looking to trade leverage, right, speed becomes extremely important. So you need fast order fills, you need deep liquidity, and you need low slippage and all that other stuff, right? And that's exactly what MEXC provides. On top of that, they're currently running a special $2,000 community bonus campaign. Check this out. So here's how you can participate. Sign up using my referral link. Deposit 100 USDT within 7 days. Trade $1,000 or more in futures, and then the first 40 users will receive a $50 USDT futures bonus. So if you were planning to start using MEXC anyway, this is a great opportunity to grab that bonus as well, and you could use my referral link. Here, I'll actually show it to you. So this is the referral link over here, MEXC 3QX capital XN. You can see that right there, or you could just click the link in the description. Either one will work. And by the way, everything that we're doing here is tracked on the Profits Precision platform, okay? Everything is logged here because serious traders don't rely on memory or whatever. They rely on data. Inside this platform, we can track everything, as you saw, the win rate, the reward risk ratios, the profitability, the consistency over time. This kind of data helps you understand what's working and what needs improvement. And the best part is that this platform is completely free right now. So if you're not journaling your trades, you're basically blind to what's actually going on. Most traders don't lose because their strategy is bad. They lose because they never measure their performance. And this challenge is about growing an advantage and growing a plan that compounds over dozens and dozens of trades, as I've explained before, right? That's how real traders grow their accounts. Okay, guys, so listen up, right? Bitcoin is sitting at a very important level. Liquidity is growing, and the next major move in the market could happen any moment. And that's exactly why I'm watching very closely right now. All right. Now, look, I'm literally sharing one new trade almost every single day, and I'm updating every single trade in my free Telegram channel in real time. The entries, the stops, the take profits, the full trade management, everything. Everything is shared there before the move happens. So if you want to follow the $10,000 to $100,000 challenge in real time, then and see the exact setups, join the free Telegram. Go to the links in the description. You can expand it right there, and that's the link. That's all you have to do, okay? So So as always, people, stay calm, stay safe, be patient, and wait for the market to come to you. Other than that, let's go!